it's Errol Spence. That's just who he is, you know. I'm inclined to believe that Errol Spence beats Tim Tszyu because I feel like there were prior to a fight with Terrence Crawford, I feel like he would have beat Tim Tszyu.
I know Spence look good, and Spence is back, and Spence is fresh, and could compete and could put up a great fight. Then I would like the fight, but without knowing, nobody knows.
As Errol Spence Jr. and Tim Tszyu near collision, Shawn Porter and boxing insiders deliver explosive predictions surrounding the showdown. Roy Jones Jr. praised Errol Spence's comeback, calling it a smart return against Tim Tszyu and highlighting Spence's mentality of avoiding tune-ups and choosing real challenges.
To see that he's back in boxing, the boxing world is glad to see that he came back. We all want to see him make a comeback. We don't never want to see a guy go out bad and not try to come back because that's what boxers do. I know he took a lot of things into consideration. He even told me when he spoke to a few people about it, and that was a good thing, but I'm glad he made the conscious decision to return. And I think it's a smart return because it's also against a guy who was on the way up there, who made it to the top, but had some struggles, and now he's on the incline trying to get back up too. So it's two guys trying to get back up. I think it's a great situation. But the biggest thing I gotta say that I love about Errol Spence is that Earl don't want no easy fights. Earl don't want to fight guys that are nobody.
He AKA somebody. No tune-up.
No,
he don't want no
tune-up. He
tune-up.
wants challenges. You understand me? He wants challenges.
On the same note, Teofimo Lopez praised the matchup and said he was confident in the abilities of both the fighters.
I don't know, man. It's Al Heyman calling these guys to come back, man, because we need something up in the sport. This is beautiful. And I'm very honored and grateful to be in the position I'm in while all this is happening. It's a dream come true. Errol Spence, Australia, Tim Tszyu. Heck yeah. I really want to see him win.
Do you think that ring rust is going to play a factor at all with Errol?
I don't think so. I think Errol Spence has been truly like nonstop working out. He already looks like he's in shape now. And when you stay on that trajectory, when you're staying consistently on working out, it's only bound to happen with the sparrings and everything.
Jumping on the bandwagon, Sean Zittel favored Tim Tszyu, citing sharper punching, Spence's balance issues, and struggles shown in the Crawford fight.
But I'm leaning towards Tim Tszyu to win this fight. And again, I said it when we had Rahman on, I think he's the sharper puncher at this stage of their careers. I saw Spence getting off balance a lot in the Crawford fight. And yeah, he's fighting probably the best fighter of this generation in Terrence Crawford. That'll do it sometimes. But I also just saw a fighter whose balance wasn't good on the punches he was throwing.
Shifting to a psychological analysis, Andre Ward talked on Errol Spence's mentality, saying he brings real danger to every fight, avoids tune-ups, and only faces opponents he knows he can fully get up for.
He's not a guy that talks a lot, but he brings a big stick to the battle. And you know when you deal with Errol Spence, you got to bring your lunch pail because he's going to bring it and he's nothing to play with. Obviously, being 36 years of age, being off as long as he hasn't had the tune-up fights. And by the way, I need my tune-ups. Give me my tune-ups because boxing is hard. I need my tune-up because I need to sharpen my tools. I want to make another paycheck before I make the big paycheck, but that's just me. I need my tune-ups, but I respect this brother because he's not with the tune-ups. And you got to know who you are. If Errol knows that I can't really get up for that guy, then I can only get up for these type of guys. You gotta know yourself. And Errol Spence knows himself. So the respect is always.
To wrap it up, Shawn Porter refused the idea of Errol Spence getting affected by his time off, advocating that it was the same Spence who fought Crawford all those years back.
And I think that, to me, I don't believe that much has changed in that amount of time. He has taken a tremendous amount of time off. He says that he just was waiting on that itch to come. He did tell me that he felt like, you know, he did consider retirement at one point. He'd done a lot, and I people don't realize this. The dude had done a lot. We all have. We've done so much more than y'all realize, and you know, all that said, though, I actually think everything that you feel and think about Tim, I actually feel and think the same about Errol. So I feel like you and I are gonna have some really good fun with the lead up to this fight.
With the fight just around the corner, the boxing pros went deeper into the matchup, breaking down Spence's experience and pressure fighting against Tszyu's sharper timing, aggression, and momentum. Giving his take, Tim Bradley dismissed claims of decline surrounding Errol Spence Jr. He said he was no longer the big fish, yet still a Hall of Fame level fighter, pointing to a deep resume featuring Ugas, Shawn Porter, and Danny Garcia Tszyu fight.
Shit, he ain't big fish no more, but I will call this a Hall of Fame Spence. I'm trying to let y'all know, man. Hey, I looked at the resume. That man got a resume. Ugas, Shawn Porter, Danny Garcia. Boy, shit, come on now. Come on now. Come on now. Anyways, yeah, he's supposed to be fighting Tim Tszyu. That's what they saying.
Shifting focus, Bradley defended Errol Spence, dismissing critics questioning his inactivity. He called Spence a beast and future Hall of Famer, insisting fans should not overlook him. He further said he would study the fight and warned the opponent ahead of the July 25 fight week push.
Hey, if y'all want to discount Spence on or disqualify his abilities on just inactivity, go ahead. I'm not. Hell no, I'm not. No, I know what type of beast he is. Spence is the damn beast, a future Hall of Famer. And if you didn't know, now you damn know. I got Errol Spence Jr. And I can watch film, and I'll let y'all know some damn X and O's when it get closer. I just want to let y'all know, man. Don't be sleeping on no damn Errol Spence. Don't sleep on him. I'm telling you, that's a bad man, and he gonna show y'all. Hey, July 26th, I think it might be the 25th for us, because I think they're dead ahead, you know, in the land down under, so.
Turning attention to Errol Spence Jr., Lonnie B revealed he wouldn't want to see him return. Lonnie B said it felt personal, recalling Spence's accident and recent performances, while highlighting the mental side of recovery during his time away.
Honestly, I don't want to see Spence fight again, because it's just personal for me, because I know Spence. We used to be at Floyd's together, and a great fighter, phenomenal fighter, but after car accident, his last fight, and I just don't want to see him take another loss. You know what I'm saying? I just want to see him go out. I just want to remember him for what the great fighter that he was. You know what I mean? That he still is.
Well, he is. I mean,
I'm not gonna say he's not great because he took one loss. He's still great.
And his only loss was to that dude, but
yeah,
Crawford.
To that guy.
You know what I'm saying? It was to that guy. You know, at the press conference, he did say like the layoff was really good.
Building on that, Lonnie B said Errol Spence Jr. is a real fighter, but raised concerns about how his body might respond after the car accident and long layoff. He admitted it felt personal, saying he still sees Spence as a future legend and does not want to imagine him losing to Tim Tszyu at this stage.
It's good because Spence is a real fighter. He's not a punk. He's a real fighter. So it's just dangerous, man. I don't know how his body gonna respond to taking punches, you know what I'm saying? And with the car accident, I really think it's that car accident that but you know, it's just personal for me, you know what I mean?
I got you. I
think Spence is a phenomenal fighter, but I don't want to see him even. I don't even want to even have the idea that he might lose to Tim Tszyu. You get what I'm saying? Like, this is Spence. This could possibly be a legend in the game. Like, I just don't want man.
Turning to layoff talk, Radio Raheem said Errol Spence Jr.'s break could help him rebuild, but nothing was certain until he faced Tim Tszyu. Raheem left uncertainty over whether he returned sharp or not, noting only the fight would tell. He also called taking Tszyu immediately a bold no tune-up choice.
And I'm glad he took a break afterwards. I don't think this 3-year layoff was a bad idea. I just don't know what it will mean when he steps back into the ring. If this is a rejuvenation, if it's a refocus, if he cleaned up his mind, body, spirit, and is ready to reclaim that warrior status, it's quite possible. It's quite possible, but that has yet to be seen. And until it's seen, all these questions remain. I will say this, though, before you jump back in. Going in against Tszyu right out of this layoff, I'm proud that he is taking no tune-ups. I think that's actually the right choice.
Continuing the breakdown, Raheem said Spence Jr.'s return would only be validated if he clearly handled Tim Tszyu, while an easy win elsewhere would leave questions open. Raheem then revisited the Terrence Crawford fight, noting Spence's volume style was vulnerable against elite counterpunchers, where timing and accuracy outweighed output.
Gets rid of Tszyu, then he's 100% back. And if he goes in there and washes some nobody or some walkover fight, the questions remain. I like the approach. It gives me confidence that he might be right about how he's feeling about this being the time.
Well, back to the Crawford fight. You know, Crawford always had a stylistic advantage over him. Styles help make fights, as we all know. And Spence, a volume puncher who's not really known for his head movement or being a defensive wizard. Really good distance, really good jab, great volume, but that volume was going to work against him, against one of the great counterpunchers in the history of the sport in Terrence Crawford.
Speaking on the matchup, Bernie the Boxer called it a solid fight for Errol Spence Jr. Not a tune-up, but a meaningful return after 3 years away. He highlighted Tim Tszyu's activity and former world title status, while praising Spence's condition and mentality ahead of the comeback. He added the layoff likely came from deeper long-term issues rather than simple time out of the ring.
A good fight. You know, it ain't a tune-up, but it's, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's a good little fight for him. Man been out 3 years. Tim Tszyu been active. Former world champion. You know, he ain't going to get nobody we don't know. I can't do nothing but salute him, take my hat off for him, and see how he go to work. I think he going to be fine. He looked like he's in good shape. You know, he ain't look all out of shape. He looked like, you know, he looked good. You know, he looked mentally all there. And, I mean, shit, them little 3 years, like I said, I told him as soon as it happened, I said, okay. He had other stuff going on, you know, other stuff going on. That was a 5-year accumulation.
Continuing his breakdown, Bernie the Boxer said Errol Spence Jr. was just getting his feet wet on the comeback, calling it a solid fight rather than a tune-up. He discussed the weight difference between Spence and Tim Tszyu, noting both had to manage their divisions carefully, before adding that the matchup carried major anticipation but didn't personally move him either way.
Get his feet wet. You know, he going back into the ring. That's it. So it don't matter. He really was a middleweight anyway, you know, so 58, that's middleweight. It's not junior middleweight. You know, the limit is 54, so it's a good fight. Tszyu, I'm sure he had to lose a lot of weight to make weight too, so good little fight. Can't wait to see the fight. You know, Errol Spence carrying the torch. You know, everybody want to see what he going to do. Most anticipation in a long time, so I just want to see the fight. So, you know, I'm wishing him the best. You know, it don't really move me whether he do good or not, you know. Either way, it don't matter to me. I'm not invested in those guys like in that situation. So it'll just be a fight to watch. And like I say, I'm wishing them the best, you know?
Talking about the pairing, Barack Best said Errol Spence and Tim Tszyu both need big wins, but Spence holds the stronger position due to his elite resume and single loss. He added Spence can still get major fights immediately, while Tszyu must prove himself more, as Spence takes time to reset mentally before returning.
Even though Spence only has one loss, they're both in the same boat where they need a good name now to put him right back on top, because they're right, especially Spence, you're right there.
I wouldn't disrespect Spence like that. I know you're not doing that, but they're not in the same boat. Errol Spence lost to arguably one of the greatest fighters of all time.
I understand
and that's his only loss.
And I think he can get a big fight no matter what.
Yeah.
Obviously, Tim Tszyu got to prove himself. But yeah, Errol Spence can have a big fight straight off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, he reigned at 147 for a very long time. And look,
was on the pound for pound
he's
list.
taken a longer break than I guess people anticipated, or that people even want.
Moving on, Greg Hackett called it a perfect matchup, saying both fighters had been through real adversity. He pointed to Errol Spence's return after setbacks, noting the break may have helped him reset. Hackett stressed that mindset and attitude would decide everything, praising Spence's focused mentality heading into the comeback.
I think it's a perfect matchup. I think perfect matchup because both of them have been through their fair share of, you know what I mean, wars and things like that. Errol Spence with the accidents, Errol Spence with the Bud Crawford fight. But I feel like he took enough time off where he could get healthy and get in his bag. You know what I mean? And I think before anything, the attitude matters. Your mindset matters. And the attitude and mindset that he's in right now, I love it. I love that mindset.
Building on that, Greg Hackett said he couldn't fully judge Errol Spence's sharpness as he hadn't seen enough recent work in the gym. Still, he felt Spence's mindset was locked in, focused purely on the fight. Hackett pointed to Tim Tszyu's comments as further proof Spence was in the right mental state, treating it strictly as business before the battle.
I don't know what to expect as far as his eyes. I haven't seen him in the sparring session. I haven't seen him in anything in the gym. I seen him in the gym. I know he's been training, but I haven't seen him, so I can't say like his eyes and reflexes. I can't say what they're gonna look like, but I know his mentality is, you know, I got work to do. So fuck y'all. You know what I mean, when Tim Tszyu said, well, you didn't even want to shake my hand, you know, I don't gotta shake your hand. We get ready to fight. That let me know that Errol Spence is in the right state of mind. He understands. He got work to do, pain to put in. You know what I'm saying? I like it. I think Tim Tszyu is looking at it like a lick, like he think Errol is right. I don't think so.
As the weight discussion continued, Ben Damon noted Errol Spence would likely be the bigger fighter after his layoff, while Tim Tszyu has stayed more active around the division. He said the size gap isn't major, but the fight being in Australia could slightly favor Tszyu heading into the matchup.
I think that makes sense, that weight. You know, he's coming off a long break, Errol Spence. He was a huge welterweight. And he's going to be, Tim was saying after they faced off today that Errol's going to be the bigger guy. Tim's obviously campaigned around this weight, but not quite up to there in recent times. I think that works fine. I don't see any advantage to either fighter. The advantage is that it's in Australia. That's a big advantage for Tim Tszyu. Errol Spence, I know he's gone and fought Kell Brook in Sheffield and other fighters as a professional and as an amateur right around the world, but he's got to come to Australia. It is a different trip. It's a long way, different time zone. I know he's a professional, but geez, if you were a part of his camp, and I know he's got a new team as well with Ronnie Shields, you'd love for him to have a warm-up fight.
Continuing his breakdown, Damon noted how the atmosphere shifted once respect broke between the fighters. A missed handshake sparked immediate tension, turning a controlled setting into a hostile exchange. He pointed out how even small moments can quickly change the energy at this level.
The MGM Grand.
Yeah, it fired up a bit. Tim called him a disrespectful fuck.
Yeah.
So apparently that was quite tense when that did happen.
Yeah.
That they didn't shake hands, and then, you know, it kicked off at the very end of that press conference. So they should have put that up the front of the press conference, really. But we got there eventually. So some entertaining stuff. There's going to be plenty of feeling. Once Tim's dad was brought up and the shadow stuff, he always gets a bit antsy about that. So I think we're ready to go once they get out here. It's going to really kick off. It's going to be an entertaining one, and everything's on the line. Like, these are two guys who can't afford to lose. And if Errol is thinking that he's 1 foot out the door, then that is a really bad position to be. But I did hear him say that he's not sure what happens after this.
Bringing in a wider perspective from a sports analyst, the focus shifted to how Errol Spence naturally attracted most of the attention due to his star power. But that didn't erase Tim Tszyu's own journey into the fight. The analyst also referenced Spence's recent setbacks and pushed back on criticism of his speech, suggesting it was more connected to recovery and adjustments than anything more serious.
And I get it. The focus is Errol Spence because he's the superstar, he's the attraction. I don't get that. That don't mean what happened with Tim Tszyu just goes away. Suddenly, because Errol Spence had been dealing with the loss to Terrence Crawford, the car accident, so on and so forth. I'm seeing people talk about Errol Spence's speech. I don't think many people paid attention to how Errol Spence talked before he suffered the car accident, because his speech is not that far off, maybe a tad slower. And the reason that it's a tad slower is because he had a lot of dental work and he's conscious of what he's saying.
Speaking on the situation, the analyst explained how the added weight classes of 54 and 60 had been put on notice as a returning fighter considered his next move. The focus, he said, stayed on shaking off ring rust, rebuilding timing, and sharpening skills after a long layoff, with less pressure on the weight cut, allowing full attention on performance.
And with the long layoff, he wants to focus on knocking the rust off, honing his skills, his timing, sparring, and not have to focus on the weight cut, right? Because the weight cut is a major issue for all fighters under heavyweight. Believe you me, right? So that's a main focus when a big fight comes up. And so the added extra 4 pounds just gives him a little bit of leeway to be able to focus on the game plan, his skill set, knocking the rust off, his timing, instead of having to focus so much on making sure you make the weight.
The discussion focuses on Errol Spence and Tim Tszyu, with attention on mindset, preparation, and whether time away affects performance. Spence is seen as locked in and staying active in training, with confidence building around his return. Tszyu brings pressure and ambition, making the matchup feel high stakes from both sides. Everything points to a fight shaped by mentality as much as skill. The anticipation continues to rise as both fighters prepare for battle. Like, subscribe, and comment for more boxing updates.